I'm on a mission to develop a better header wrap product. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different than normal. It's definitely going to be car related, but it's not going to be doing a project on a car. Today I want to talk about a new project that I have coming up that I'm actively working on right now. I am on a mission. I am going to develop an automotive product, and hopefully you guys will like it and use it, and maybe somebody will buy it or something like that. But if you don't know, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been self-employed for like 14 years now, and I do all my business online. So I'm like an online entrepreneur, I guess you would say. So I have sold physical products in the past on Amazon, a whole bunch of those, and then I have a service business that operates online right now. So I'm just kind of an entrepreneurial guy in general, and I like to be self-employed, and that's just kind of my way of living that I've been living for a long time now, and I'm trying to continue doing that. But my main business is kind of tapered off a whole bunch, so I'm looking at new things to do. And being a car guy and having all these projects, it kind of seems obvious that I should be doing some entrepreneurial pursuit in the automotive aftermarket world, the performance world. And honestly, I've kind of wanted to do that forever and never really seen a way to make it happen, or never really had a need to really make it happen. But now's the time for me to develop something. And I've been working on this idea for actually in the back of my mind for years and years. It's just been sort of brewing. And now I want to actually push forward and make it happen. And so I'm making some good progress on this. So what the heck am I even talking about here? I'm on a mission to develop a better header wrap product. So you all know what this is. This is header wrap that you buy on Amazon, eBay, or wherever else you buy parts. And you wrap your turbo hot side with it, or you wrap your headers with it, your downpipes, whatever else. And it keeps the heat in the pipe and keeps your engine bay much more cool, and it keeps your cabin more cool, and it keeps you from melting brake lines and discoloring the paint because your header runs too close to the frame rail and all this kind of stuff. You guys know what it is. So that stuff actually works pretty well. It really does work pretty well. The problem with it, though, is if you've ever used it, you know that it is super itchy. Like most of it's especially the cheaper stuff is made out of fiberglass, and it's made out of these tiny little pieces of glass, and they break because they're glass. And then they're sharp because they're tiny pieces of glass, and they stick in your hands and make you really itchy. And on my car, I wrapped my whole hot side with it. My whole hot side was wrapped, and my downpipe was wrapped. And I think it was only on there a couple of months, and I cut every bit of it off and threw it in the trash, and I swore to never use that stuff again because it literally made it miserable to work on my car. Every time I went to do anything under the hood, there were little fiberglass fibers literally stuck to everywhere in the engine bay. So you couldn't work on anything without getting itchy. And if you ever brushed against the pipe itself, that would get you itchy. So it was just a real nightmare. So that was my experience with header wrap. And so, like I said, I cut it off, threw it away, and said there's got to be a better way. Well, I used, at one point I had all my hot side professionally ceramic coated by a ceramic coater about an hour away from here. And I thought that was going to be the solution. And it looked pretty nice. But honestly, it did not insulate very well, and I guess the worst part is it all just baked off and flaked off, and it was a fail in the end. So that was another big waste of money. But I'm sure there's good ceramic coaters that can make it stay on the pipe, but it's just not a good insulation product, period. Anyway, if you know anything about insulation, you know that all insulating of all types comes down to thickness. If you're talking about heat insulation anyway, it comes down to thickness. You have to have material thickness, and the thicker the material is, the more it's going to insulate. That's the general way it works. But you got to have air gap between, like, you touch the pipe and where the pipe is. The thicker that gap is, the better you're going to have insulation. The cooler the surface that you touch is going to be. So that's why ceramic coating is, in my opinion, it's really just fancy paint. It's just really high heat paint, and it's not good insulation. So that's my thoughts on ceramic coating. So back to the thing here is I'm developing a better header wrap product, and I've got a couple of ideas. And my basic plan is I want to develop something that insulates even better than header wrap, but I want something that isn't as itchy as header wrap. So I did a bunch of research into this, did like a big old deep dive on the internet into header wrap and materials and insulation and high temp this and that and materials, and ceramics and silicones and all these different fibers. And I did a deep dive on who all the manufacturers are for these things overseas and here in America. And I looked at all my competitors and kind of just got a whole lay of the land for the whole landscape of thermal management for automotive purposes and for industrial purposes. And I kind of pretty much got a good handle on what's out there and what can be done and maybe what can't be done. And so I've got a couple of improvements to header wrap that I think are really going to work. I think they're going to insulate better, and I think they're going to be less itchy. Those are my two main goals. So I'm working with some manufacturers to try to make this happen, and I'm in the early stages of this right now. I'm just trying to get samples ordered and get them here, and I'm trying to test ideas. And one of the main things I'm doing is trying to find people in the industry who will talk to me and will work with me and basically consult with me on my thoughts and give me their wisdom and experience and tell me what can and can't be done. And I found a really good guy today. I talked to him on the phone, and I think he's going to be a good contact and supplier for some of this stuff. And he's got a warehouse here in the Midwest, so he can get parts to me or materials to me quickly. So that was a big win. I'm also contacting a company in China who manufactures the material. That may work out, it may not. I would rather not work with an overseas supplier. It's fine if I have to, but if I can work with somebody in America, that's just easier, basically. So that's what I'm up to, and that's what this video is about. And really, it's just going to be a short video to introduce the idea of what I'm doing here. If you guys have engine swap projects, hot rod projects, turbocharged projects, I'm sure you have something like that if you're following me on this channel, or you've had something like that in the past, or you want to build something like that in the future. If that applies to you at all, then this product will apply to you. Because all these projects run hot. They all have like open raw piping, that doesn't have any fancy OEM heat shields on it, and that's a problem. They all have really tight clearances where stuff is actually just too close to other stuff, because those are just sacrifices you have to make whenever you're stuffing big motors in small cars, or you're stuffing like 4-inch downpipes into spaces that were never supposed to have any exhaust in them at all, so you got compromises on space and stuff. So the side effect is you get too much heat everywhere, and everything just runs hot, and hoses get brittle and baked, and things can melt, and your paint and the engine bay can get discolored and turn yellow because there's too much heat. And then of course you get too much heat hitting the firewall, and then the cabin gets too hot, your feet get too hot on a long drive. You guys, basically, you all know the deal. So I've been interested in basically thermal management, if you want to call it a fancy name. I've been interested in thermal management for automotive purposes for years and years. I just kind of have a fascination with it. So I've looked at all the stuff on the market, from ceramic coatings to header wraps to fancy dimpled stainless steel jackets that people form and weld all around the pipe. I love that stuff. It's amazing. Some of that stuff's just not feasible for the DIY car guy building a car in his shop, right? So I want a product that works as good as the best stuff, but is usable by you and me in their shop, and doesn't require like an oven to bake something or a fancy welder to weld something, and doesn't require you to send your parts out to somebody and wait and then they send them back. I want a product that is basically as easy to use as header wrap, but works even better. So that's all this is all about, is improving a product that's already out there. So if you're into that and you're interested in what I'm up to, please sign up for updates. You can subscribe to this channel, and I will probably update people here, but the main thing is the email list. I have about 50 people on the email list already who are signed up for updates. So I made a post over on Boosted LSX Facebook page, where I hang out all the time and talk Turbo LS stuff, and the post went somewhat viral over there, and it was like 175 people commented that they wanted updates, and I got about 50 of those people to sign up by email for the email list. So the email list is going to be my primary way to update people on this, because I think it's the best way to make sure you actually get the update, because the way the algorithms work on Facebook and YouTube and all social medias is not everybody sees everything you post. It's really easy for me to post an update and you just never see it because whatever, the algorithm didn't show you my thing or whatever. So email is almost 100% guaranteed that you're going to get my email if I email you. So that's why I want everybody in the email list, if at all possible. So I will put a link. I guess I'll put a link in my bio. Where will I put that? Can I do that here on YouTube? check my bio and I'll put a link there if that's possible, or if it's possible to put a link below this video, I'll put it there. Just wherever YouTube allows me to put an actual hyperlink, I'll put a link to the email list. All you gotta do is pop in your email and you're done. And I will not spam you. I will email you, but I will not spam you with nonsense, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's what's up, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. If you have any questions about it or comments, comment down below. I know there's some competitor products on the market some of you guys have used and you've been happy with. You can comment about that down below. There's stuff you've used and weren't happy with. You can talk about that. Whatever you want. If you have any comments or questions, let me know that way. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys as soon as I have more to say about that. Thank you.